Good evening once again. I hope you all enjoyed a great holiday season with your family and friends. I stand before you today truly grateful for the opportunity to serve as the mayor of Howell Township and proud to live in a community as diverse and beautiful as Howell. The beginning of every new year brings along an opportunity to establish goals, set objectives, and lay out the plans for the next 12 months. Several years ago, Howell Township started a formal process where the mayor laid out the initiatives that the governing body would follow for their priorities in the coming year, which would then be followed by an annual State of the Township address by the Township Manager. Tonight, I would like to continue that tradition, but I would like to remind everyone where we were just a few short years ago. Our facilities were in poor condition without plans or funding for any improvements. Our revenue was decreasing, but our debt was climbing, which represented a growing portion of our annual budget. Our community was growing, but our infrastructure, our roads, and our recreational areas and parks were starting to decline. Although we all had grand plans, the recession put everything on hold, but we knew that the conservative financial practices that we deployed several years earlier would eventually start to pay off. It wasn't easy, but eventually the economy improved and we began to rebuild. And 2015 was the real start of that process. In 2015, we reestablished zero-based budgeting, which introduced a flat municipal tax for 2 years in a row. We decreased the overall municipal operating budget. We permanently funded our old debt and provided long-term financial stability, and we were rewarded with improved bond ratings by outside agencies. We put resources where they were solely lacking, specifically the police and public works departments. We created a task force within the police department to combat the growing distribution of illegal drugs that were a threat to our children. We hired additional staff in DPW to improve our roads, keep our communities cleaner, and take better care of our resources and our buildings. And we started major capital programs such as the Freewood Acres Sewer Project and paved more roads in 2014 and 15 than we did the previous 10 years combined. I would be lying if I said that it was easy in 2015 because it certainly wasn't. Increased expenses, the continuing property reassessment process, and the reappearance of affordable housing mandates made the end of 2015 a certain challenge. But I want to thank all of those of you who took the time to listen to our message and offered solutions. We truly consider each and every resident as the most important members of our team when we make every one of the decisions that affect Howell Township residents. Although not everyone is always happy with every decision, I believe that when given the opportunity to be heard and offer input, I believe that we are all able to come together to solve our problems. So although we begin a new year tonight, we still have a lot of work to do. I believe we have a number of areas we need to focus our attention on throughout the year, so I offer my 10 goals for 2016. Number 1. We need to remember the hardships that we faced when times were tough because it's bound to happen again. Although our revenue is increasing and our financial outlook is very favorable, we can't just start on a spending spree. Howell is still a very expensive town to own a home in, and I still hold out hope that my daughter can afford to live here as I start my own journey towards retirement. Let's continue to separate our needs from our wants in our upcoming budget process so that our children don't have to keep paying the bills for the decisions that we make today. Let's make 2016 the third year in a row with a zero increase in our municipal taxes for all of our residents at or below the township average property assessment. Let's review our sewer utility surplus to continue our major projects but still find a balance to return once again another savings back to our ratepayers for the second year in a row. Number 2, our most important responsibility is to keep our residents safe. Let's continue to give our police department and Chief Kudrick the tools that they need to keep us safe. We have seen the decrease in serious crime and drug-related incidents when we effectively deploy teams to address those problems. As we begin our budget process, we need to continue to expand staffing for the Street Crimes Task Force, bring back a full-time traffic safety unit, and add additional canine resources, all of which are still recovering from the necessary funding cuts we needed to do several years ago. Number 3, with a challenge in our economy brings the opportunity for additional commercial and residential development within the township. Although the increase in commercial ratables along Route 9 has been the key ingredient in keeping municipal taxes stable, We need to be wary of overdevelopment and revisit our planning and zoning to ensure that our vision for our commercial areas matches our current ordinances, and that we put measures in place to keep our interior areas rural long after we get done serving as elected officials. Number 4, we need to get a little smarter on how we acquire open space. Although preserving farms is very important, as we've done in the past, several years ago the voters allowed us to use open space funds for additional purposes, including the maintenance of our existing recreational facilities and expanding the current open space inventories. We should consider buying open space in areas of the township most threatened by overdevelopment from neighboring municipalities. Number 5, we should begin investing in upgrades to our active recreational opportunities on township property. I suggest we revisit the plans prepared in early 2015 by our Department of Community Development to expand our parks, improve our sports fields, and provide additional amenities that can be enjoyed by residents of all ages. Number 6, we need to revisit our external communications to our residents who truly are our customers. Our internet site needs to be more interactive and easier to navigate. We need to understand the role of social media in today's world and be able to effectively manage the message with facts so that all residents are informed of the daily happenings of their local government. 7, 4 years ago we began a process of streamlining our services, bringing all departments into one roof, increasing efficiencies and improving customer service. We should once again create a top-to-bottom review of all departments to make sure that we are properly staffed and the proper structure is in place to meet our goals and provide increased services to all of our residents. Number 8, with the assistance of our administrative staff, we began a review of the current Assessment Demonstration Program, otherwise known as ADP, and its impact on Howell property owners. Although we know the former process of township-wide reassessments at 10-year intervals was not a good situation for the township, we need to take the current system and make sure it's an effective and equitable tool for Howell Township. We will soon be meeting with our county tax board and our freeholders and our state legislators to review the current program and call for a more spread out frequency of market rate assessments with maximum allowable increases and decreases to individual property assessments so that all neighborhoods can see some stability in their property values, and put measurements in place to prevent township-wide reassessments that have been devastating to us in the past. Number 9, one of our biggest accomplishments from 2015 involved a small group of citizens who worked tirelessly for the township, who were recognized by Sustainable New Jersey as a green and environmentally responsible municipality. We should continue to provide the necessary resources and structure towards the next level of certification, not just because it opens up access for additional funding and grants, but because leaving a cleaner environment for our children is the responsible thing to do, and it will make our beautiful community an even better place to live and raise a family. Number 10, and most importantly, we need to understand that we can't do any of this on our own. We need to work continuously with our peers in higher elected offices to provide the support and assistance that we need. Each member of the governing body needs to interact with our counterparts at the county, the state, and the federal government to make sure that we have a voice. We need to meet with our state legislative team and their Senate and Assembly leadership teams to begin the dialogue in Trenton on issues that truly affect Howell residents. Issues such as meaningful pension reform, reducing mandates such as affordable housing, and lowering taxes for residential property owners in the state of New Jersey. And let's continue to work with our highly dedicated members of our other boards of education and our fire districts to work on plans where the best services can be maintained at the best possible costs. 2016 will likely bring a whole new set of challenges for us, but I'm comfortable that we have the team in place to continue on our successes, and I look forward to another great year for Howell Township. For me personally, I plan on treating every day of 2016 as though it was my very first day on the job. I ask for your support as we all work together to make Howell Township the best that it can be. Happy New Year to all of you. May God continue to bless each and every one of you, and may God continue to bless Howell Township. Thank you all.